Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving into a timeless parable that literally holds the key to surviving and, honestly, thriving amidst modern uncertainty. We're unpacking Dr. Spencer Johnson's absolute classic, Who Moved My Cheese, and extracting those crucial lessons you simply can't ignore as we navigate the rapid shifts of our world in 2026 and beyond. Whether you're dealing with a sudden restructuring at work, major shifts in a relationship, or just the crazy fast pace of technological change, this framework is going to be your roadmap.
Right off the bat, I want you to ask yourself a super profound question. What would you do if you weren't afraid? It's a really powerful thought exercise, isn't it? As we go through this explainer together, keep this idea in the back of your mind. Consider how fear might be silently dictating your current reactions to life's inevitable shifts. Change almost always represents the unknown. And the unknown challenges our fundamental sense of safety. But what if we could flip that script?
Section 1. The Inevitability of Change. Why we resist what we cannot avoid. Now, we have to acknowledge that adapting to change is incredibly hard for the human brain. I mean, we're hardwired for comfort and predictability. But in today's world, adapting is no longer just a nice-to-have skill, it is an absolute necessity for survival. And hey, if you think you're alone in struggling with this, just wrap your head around this number, 30 million. That is the staggering number of copies Spencer Johnson's book has sold across 37 different languages. It stayed on bestseller lists for over 200 weeks. That just goes to show that the struggle to adapt isn't some unique personal failing, right? It's a universal human experience. We literally all struggle with it, which is exactly why this framework resonates so deeply across the globe.
Section 2. Decoding the cheese metaphor. Understanding our environment and goals.
So first up, we have the maze. This represents the complex and, let's be honest, often confusing reality of daily life where we search for fulfillment in 2026. The maze is your office, your industry, your family dynamic, maybe your community. It's basically a labyrinth filled with blind alleys and dark corners where it is very easy to get lost. But it also holds the secrets to a much better life for those who actually know how to navigate it.
And that brings us to our second symbol, the cheese. Now, cheese isn't just a snack here. It's a really profound metaphor for absolutely anything you deeply desire. It represents the ultimate goals, the achievements, and those deep comforts we build our entire identities around. For some people, cheese is a massive bank account, or becoming a big cheese at work. For others, it's a cozy cottage, a loving family, or just pure spiritual peace of mind. And here's the kicker. The more important your cheese is to you, the more desperately you want to hold on to it.
Section 3. 4 reactions to change. Who are you in the maze?
What is totally fascinating here is that the 4 characters in this story are actually psychological archetypes. They represent different parts of our own minds. On one side, we have the mice, Sniff and Scurry. They rely on simple, basic instinct to detect change early and leap into immediate action. Super straightforward. Then on the other side, we have the little people, Hem and Haw. They represent our complex human brains. They're prone to overanalyzing, they tend to feel entitled, and they are incredibly emotionally resistant to change. This setup brilliantly illustrates the sharp contrast between the simple, highly effective adaptability of the mice and the paralyzing overcomplication we humans so often inflict on ourselves.
So, in the story, all 4 characters are running through the maze, and they eventually find this massive, seemingly endless supply of cheese at a place called Cheese Station C. There's even a saying on the wall that pretty much sums it up. Having cheese makes you happy. Life is great, right? But here's what happens. While the mice stay alert, literally keeping their running shoes tied around their necks just in case, the little people, Hem and Haw, quickly grow dangerously comfortable. They put their running shoes away, they actually become arrogant in their success, genuinely believing they are entitled to this cheese forever.
But, well, as we all know, change is inevitable. One day, they show up at Station C and the cheese is completely gone. Poof. Now, the mice had noticed the supply dwindling for weeks, so they simply put their running shoes back on and head back out into the maze. No drama. But Hem and Haw, they're absolutely devastated. Hem shouts this now iconic phrase, "Who moved my cheese?" He rants, he raves, he screams that it just isn't fair. And honestly, this quote perfectly captures that victimhood, the shock, and the total denial we've all felt when life suddenly rips up our comfortable plans.
Section 4. The handwriting on the wall. Haw's journey into the unknown.
So Haw finally decides to venture back into the terrifying unknown maze, and he realizes pretty quickly that staying put is literally going to starve them. Along his journey, he leaves a trail of wisdom written on the maze walls, starting with a pretty brutal truth. If you do not change, you can become extinct. He finally understands that staying in a comfortable but clearly declining situation just out of fear, it will ultimately destroy you. The old cheese is never coming back. Clinging to it doesn't preserve it, it just guarantees your own extinction in the maze.
As he travels a bit further, a new realization hits him. He writes, "Smell the cheese often so you know when it is getting old." Looking back, Hall realizes the cheese at Station C didn't just vanish overnight. The supply had been getting smaller, and honestly what was left was getting stale and moldy. He realizes he really should have been monitoring his environment better. And wow, what a vital lesson for us, right? We always need to watch for those early warning signs in our jobs, our industries, and even our relationships. We have to anticipate the change before it completely shocks us. Venturing deeper into these dark, completely unknown corridors of the maze, Ha is obviously terrified. But then he notices something incredible. Movement in a new direction helps you find new cheese. The very act of taking action, even when you are totally 100% uncertain of the destination, actually reduces your fear. Ha discovers that letting go of the past and just trusting what lies ahead physically energizes him. The journey itself actually becomes rewarding.
To keep his spirits up whenever he gets lost, Ha uses a really highly effective psychological tool. He writes, "Imagining yourself enjoying your new cheese leads you to it." By visualizing his success in vivid sensory detail, literally imagining the exact taste and smell of rich, new cheeses, Ha activates his brain's motivation centers. He essentially draws a mental map straight to his new goal. He stops focusing on what he lost and suddenly becomes incredibly excited about what he has to gain.
Section 5. Finding your new cheese. Real-world application.
Okay, so how does Ha's lesson actually apply to us right now? Well, consider this incredibly revealing statistic. A massive 70% of organizational changes fail. 70%! Why? Because people resist the shift and act exactly like Ha. They cross their arms, they complain that it isn't fair, they say, well, that's the way we've always done it, and they flat out refuse to adapt. If we want to thrive today, we have to learn to be a Ha, or honestly, even better, a sniffer scurry.
Let's pull all of this together into a real, actionable framework. First, anticipate change before it happens. Second, monitor your situation for early warnings. You gotta smell the cheese often. Third, adapt quickly instead of resisting. Remember, the quicker you let go of the old cheese, the sooner you're gonna find the new cheese. Fourth, discard old beliefs that hold you back, because old beliefs absolutely do not lead to new cheese. And finally, visualize your future success clearly to actively pull yourself forward. By adopting this really simple framework, you can stop fighting the inevitable and start pivoting toward better opportunities way faster than anyone else around you.
And that brings us to our final takeaway. The next time your life gets turned totally upside down, whether that's a sudden career shift, a massive industry disruption, or just a personal curveball, I really want you to catch yourself, stop acting like him. Instead, stop agonizing over the past, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, where can I find new cheese? Your new cheese is out there, just waiting for you in the maze. The real question is, are you brave enough to put on your running shoes and go find it? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you in the maze.